Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's online webinar, a part of our CACEIS talk series, addressing a really crucial and important topic for us at CACEIS regarding ESG data analysis and reporting. My name is Scott Foster. I'm the Head of Digital and Governance Solutions based in CACEIS UK, and I'll be joined later today by one of our key partners on ESG risk analytics and reporting, Thibaut and Jérôme. Today's webinar will address the following topics on the agenda below. And what we're going to do is run you through the key concepts regarding our new platform recently launched on our client portal, OLIS. It's called the CACEIS Connect Store. We'll then address some of the key challenges we are seeing as a custodian asset servicer regarding ESG data and information, and what our clients are looking for and demanding regarding these solutions and these new regulatory frameworks. And as well as that, we'll highlight the key value add proposition that we're bringing to life through the CACEIS Connect Store with our partner of choice today, Clarity AI. I'll then hand over the floor to the Clarity AI team, Thibaut and Jérôme, to go through their proposition, how they're addressing those key challenges, and do a live demonstration of the platform where you can visualize and access all the key tools and data you need to fulfill your ESG requirements. We'll then hand over to a final Q&A session. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the CACEIS Connect Store is essentially a private marketplace, a platform where we bring best-in-class third-party service providers to our clients in an online way. We've investigated a couple of initial solutions to bring this information and these solutions to life on the CACEIS Connect Store. Initial topics include cross-border distribution, ESG reporting solutions, and further data analytics tools to help our clients with day-to-day running of their funds and to carry out their activities in the best possible way. Through the Connect Store, our clients will have direct access to all of these pre-selected fintechs in a secure way on OLIS with a single sign-on fashion, with the ability to subscribe directly to each of these fintechs digitally on this platform. It's a continuously evolving offer where we have an initial set of platforms which we will add to the CACEIS Connect Store, and we'll look to expand on those topics and expand on those solutions as we go through the year, making sure that the Connect Store is up to date and is bringing to you, the client, the most up-to-date and best-in-class solutions that we're finding in the marketplace. So this is our initial view on the CACEIS Connect Store today. We have several partners already, FundGlobum, Osmos, Sysmo, and today we'll be focusing on Clarity AI, an extremely important topic for us and our clients regarding sustainable finance, ESG analysis, and reporting that our clients are demanding today. And so for those who maybe aren't as up to speed on ESG or want to know a high-level summary, the next slide provides a key overview of what we're seeing in the ESG market space at the moment. And so ESG investing, the push for sustainable finance has been growing considerably, and it's now definitely seen as mainstream. However, with this new topic and this new area of interest for our clients on the funds or pension fund side, there are new challenges and topics to address. And a key parameter to address these topics is access to high quality, reliable data, analysis and reporting. And so what are the key challenges that we're seeing today? There are growing regulatory requirements where more transparency and information is needed to disseminate to the regulator and to your investors regarding the sustainability of your financial products, ensuring full transparency in topics such as SFDR and the classification of your funds, and as well as that EU taxonomy alignment measures which clients need data on to report on to their investors and to the regulator in the coming future. There are other topics such as addressing the production of EET files, so the European ESG regulatory template, and as well as that, perhaps closer to my home in London, the production of an TCFD template covering all of your climate change data and carbon metrics to be passed on to, again, the regulator and your investors. We've talked a bit about shifting investor sentiment, so there's a fast-growing demand for sustainable products. We're seeing large inflows into sustainable related funds, Article 8 and Article 9 funds, and the growth in the area is definitely there. And so we need the data reporting and analytics to support those highly popular funds and growing funds. There are, on top of the data requirements, ESG risk monitoring needs. So ESG data is one element of the ESG story, but it's then translating that data into tangible quantitative metrics around E, S, and G risks, and as well as that climate change risks, reputational risks, and perhaps connected to climate change risks, quantification of physical and transition risks. So important topics for our clients to get into and analyze and simulate how their portfolios are performing from an E, S, and G perspective, and as well as that climate metrics and impact objectives as well. And so that's all to say clients such as yourselves are demanding new ESG portfolio assessment solutions, which we'll share in a moment with a demonstration of the Clarity AI tool and platform. And so I guess the key question for us is, as we did a market scan of the industry, why have we selected our partner Clarity AI today? And for us, it was two critically important points. One, it was coverage on ESG risk data and analytics. They have a large data set of issuers, funds, and countries, and information at a look-through level on all of these issuers and funds and countries is included within that one package. So there's no additional license costs for look-through analysis on the funds. I think a key differentiator in the marketplace today. ESG risk monitoring can be done at a portfolio level, a fund level, a sector level, and broken all the way down to that issuer level, as discussed, as mentioned, with that look-through capability. And the ability as well to benchmark your ESG metrics and climate change metrics across your funds and portfolios is a key value add for clients as well. When we talk about ESG regulatory reporting, we mentioned already EU taxonomy alignment reporting, SFDR requirements, and TCFD. Through Clarity and their platform, again, we can help our clients visualize all of that data and download the necessary reports to produce for their investors and or the regulator. And so with all of that, where does CACEIS come in the equation? Well, as an asset servicer, as a custodian, holding your assets and your portfolio information, we have, let's say, half of the jigsaw puzzle needed to complete this assessment and complete these reports. And through APIs and reduced IT burden and connectivity, we can quite seamlessly, through a plug-and-play fashion, connect you, our clients, to these preferred partners such as Clarity AI to get access to all of these advanced and state-of-the-art tools. And CACEIS will, as a part of the onboarding process, support you, the client, throughout your journey to get your hands on ESG data, analytics, and reporting. And so who is this available for? Well, this Clarity AI solution is available to all client types across the value chain: asset managers, wealth managers, asset owners, all the way down to the individual investor. And clients can have access to all of this ESG information, climate change information, as I say, at a top level and all the way down to an issuer level as well. And I think the key challenges around ESG at the minute are really understanding the coverage of data, what data is available, what data is reported, what data is estimated. And when we look at estimated data, what are the methodologies behind that? Is it a black box, or is there real transparency behind the methodologies of the calculations that are being used and the algorithms that are being used to calculate scores or to calculate carbon emissions in Scope 3, as an example? And although data and metrics is a key fundamental part to this solution, the next step is then taking that data and making it decision useful. And making it decision useful requires state-of-the-art business intelligence tools, data analysis tools, the ability to download formats in a bespoke way. And the Clarity web app, which will be demonstrated today by Jérôme, will cover and show you, the client, what type of features you can get through this online tool and through this online web app. As I said, all integrated into the OLIS Connect store, which clients can subscribe to in a plug-and-play fashion. So, without further ado, I'll hand the floor over now to Thibault to introduce Clarity AI and go through the topics. So, thank you. Thibault?
Thank you, Scott. Thank you to everybody. And thank you for this great partnership with CACEIS. And we are really pleased here to be in the heart of Paris, in Crédit Agricole Village, where it's really the place for technology. So here is a really good momentum and good timing for us to talk about, Clarity AI and why we've been selected by CACEIS. So I think Scott did introduce very well, the triple challenge that we are facing: the data challenge, the methodology challenge, and the tool challenge. And before we go to the demo to show you with Jérôme how we address those three challenges, I will just do a quick introduction around Clarity AI. So we have 5 years of existence. We are really a tech company, and that's something which is very important. Since inception, the way we think about ourselves is a tech company on sustainable investment. It's very different from typical or usual trading rating agency who relies on a lot of manual input from different analysts, ESG analysts. So here we are a tech company. We are now, since these 5 years, we have 300 employees, and 200 of them are only focusing on the tech part, whether it's on the pure technical aspect, front end, back end, or whether it's really more on the research and on the ESG algorithm. The way we differentiate ourselves is really with three things. The first one is the coverage around securities. The second one is about transparency of our methodology. There is no black box effect. There is no analysis bias. And the last one is the granularity of our information. Our aim is really to bring societal impact to markets and as well to consumer and as well to corporate. But for today and for the link that we have with the partnership that we have with CACEIS, we're obviously focusing more on the finance side and the asset management and asset owner. So how does it work? The first thing is at the heart of what we do. It's really the cornerstone. If you think at all this ESG analysis that is done today, you need to start with raw data. And raw data is really what is the key, is to get good quality data and a good coverage of data. And that's where we start here by having some machine learning algorithms which are able to effectively track and make sure about the fiability of the information. So that the first layer of the latest technology to ensure that what we have is fully analysis, is compared, and is the best data that is out there. So that's the first part. The second part, in terms of technology, which is very important, is the estimation part. Because here we are in an environment where there is a few data, there is not so many data which are available. So to do a good comparison of universe, you have to do some estimation. Instead of doing estimation on the side with a model on Excel, here what we've done, again using the latest technology latest technology support, is really to have this ability to do some estimation on a large scale and completely automatic. So with these two main technical features, we are able then to provide more data than any other provider. It's around 2 to 3 times more data that we are providing, to the scale of effectively having 300,000 funds, to have 50,000 securities, and to have as well 400 governments or sub-governments. That's where we address the first challenge on data. Now on the second challenge, which is about methodology, here we have complete transparency about the methodology. Jérôme will show you how you can access it. In addition, all these technologies are completely fact-based and relies on research. What we do is really make the link between this raw data that we receive and the methodology is we always give you, for that methodology, what type of data has been used. It has been, was it data estimated? Was it data reported by the company? You have all this information that is at your end. And last point about the third challenge, which is about the tools. We have this ability to integrate ourselves. For example, with CACEIS and OLIS and the connector, we are interfaced through a single sign-on, but we have as well very different or other means to be integrated, whether it's through widgets, through API, and so on and so on. So that's really the heart of Clarity AI. In terms of the tool and your need, because as an asset manager or as an asset owner, you have to effectively allocate, you have to do some allocation based on your ESG strategy. And here, that's where you need to effectively define your methodology, probably customize your methodology, then define your universe where you want to invest, and you want to customize maybe this universe, maybe you want to customize your methodology. Once you've done the building of your portfolio, obviously you want to monitor it. You want to ensure that it's following the different guidelines that you set for yourself. And then at the end, you need to report it. And that's why you need this great flexibility of the tool to be able to select and to use some methodology which can be flexible to produce the result that you want. The way, what we offer in terms of methodology, as you can see here, there is 3 main domains on the ESG, whether it's impact, whether it's risk, whether it's climate. So it's really wide. It's really a 360 type of analysis. So for example, as mentioned by Scott, if you look at the climate and you're in the UK, you want to look at the TCFD side. That's part of the climate module. Obviously, if you want to have a more risk approach in terms of what is the dimension of your portfolio which is at risk in terms of ESG, you have as well what you need, and the same for impact. The way we are going to present the demo is really focusing either on this different type of methodology, impact, risk, or climate, or focusing on the reg compliance side. Okay, on the reg compliance side, this is really the ability for you to report on different type of compliance, whether it's SFDR, whether it's EU taxonomy, whether you want to generate the EET file. So now we'll move on to the demonstration of the web app, what was done by Jérôme. And I'm going to connect myself to the web app. If you give me 1 minute, I'm coming to it. Okay, let me reconnect my password. Here you go, and I leave the floor to Jérôme.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, my name is Jérôme Matt. I am from Clarity, in charge of the French-speaking countries in Europe. Thank you very much, Thibaut, because you said quite everything. So you ease my demonstration, even if the challenge now will be to go through the details and maybe to explain you with this single sign-on when you land on our tool, Clarity Web App, what you can do, how you can perform your analysis, whatever the topic you want to assess in the ESG aspect. There is one thing that Clarity is not doing, is assessing financial performance, but we do on the extra financial one indeed. Scott, thank you very much as well, because you already used a lot of jargon. So I'm gonna first do the first part on the regulation. We will see how we assess the SFDR with the calculation of the principal adverse impact indicators of a portfolio or an entity level. We will also assess and see how we visualize the data on the EU taxonomy. And then I will do a second part of the presentation on what is, let's say, a package for non-regulation solutions, assessing the risk of the portfolio, where the exposures of my investment are, and as well assessing the climate and the impact of globally the investment that we would analyze. Let's, for this, if you allow me, select a portfolio. This one on my screen, the Clarity Sum portfolio. Indeed, our users and our clients can import globally any specific portfolios. They can also create the portfolio on the go, on the fly, on the platform, and easily select them when this is done. Going on my Clarity Sample portfolio, I click and I open a dashboard. On this dashboard, on the left-hand side, we have the societal impact assessment, and we have all the different modules or all the different solutions that we will go through, as I said. Saying this, we will now see what are in our portfolio. This Clarity Sample portfolio is made of what? Clicking on holdings, I see that I have 5 different lines. But as we already said, and Thibaut mentioned the fact that we have very large, and one about the most important coverage in this industry, we have the look-through of all the different funds that we are covering. You know that we are covering now 320 plus thousand funds. We have the look-through of those funds thanks to our partners and distributor of the funds. So if I click on the arrow of a specific line, which is this one, and we, for this example, are using the ETF on the S&P 500, I just click on the arrow and I see all the underlying companies, which at the end allows me to have a representation, a picture of my portfolio by organization. And if I click on this tab by org, I am able to see all the different issuers that I am invested in, on which I am invested. So this can be public companies. This can be for 5 to 10% of our coverage private companies, but this is also, as said, state, government for 386 exactly different governments or states that we cover. So, which allows us to basically, on clicking on summary, allow us to present and visualize the information at the level of this portfolio. You can imagine this as being one simple portfolio, but you can also imagine like having your entire universe of investment at the entity level, and then being able to perform any specific challenges now that the regulation is requesting, which is the calculation of the principal adverse impact indicators for the SFDR or the EU taxonomy. That's my first part. It was a promise. Let's jump into it. Clicking on the SFDR, if I click on details, I will have the capacity to see exactly the level of each specific principal adverse indicators, the level of those impact pies, let's call them like this, can be also managed and compared with any specific indexes that I want to use. We can globally select the MSCI ACWI, and then we will see directly if my portfolio is above or is under the level of the benchmark, outperforming or not. That's basically one aspect of the platform, being able at any specific module, by the way, to compare the investment, the portfolio with a benchmark. We have a lot of information in there, and we have the capacity to see this at the level of the organization, as said, which give a huge granularity of information, and which also allows us to offer a full transparency of the system. You can see on this tab, raw data by org, we are also showing we are also displaying, but we are also demonstrating what raw data we are using for what company and what are the level, what are the sources that we are using. So let's stick to the second line, 3M Co. For the company 3M. You know that the system is using for the calculation of the greenhouse gas emission data coming from CDP, the Carbon Disclosure Project, and is using this level of 3,600,000. Globally, everything is disclosed so that you are not lost. It's not a black box. Everything is explained. And that's a very important point because the regulator today is asking you, being asset owner or asset manager, to have in hand and to have a clear comprehension, a clear understanding of your methodology that you use to measure and to assess the risk of your portfolio. So this tool is also allowing on this SFDR level to generate reports. As said, we are generating the EET report, for instance. This is an Excel file made of something like 570 different items, and we are populating, we are automatically giving the data into that Excel file for the extra financial information. We also publish the SFDR report. So this one, and as the regulator, is not very simple. It asks you to select two optional pies. So let's click the two first one on the environmental and social pillars. You accept this and you download the report. Then this report will be basically available and usable for the regulator. Meaning that at the end, it's a Word document because it's editable. You can definitely give your input on the qualitative questions that the regulator is asking, but you have all the metrics, all the calculation that you need to provide to the regulator or the compliance officer in your company. Saying this is the template, and for those who know the RTS, provided by the regulator, and we are fully following this template in order to be, and in order for our users to be able to use it as a product, as a document for reporting purpose. Back on my tool, clicking on summary, back on my dashboard. Now we will deep dive into the EU taxonomy. Well, the deep dive is maybe too much. Let's have an highlight, an overview on the solutions. You know that the EU taxonomy is very complex. First, we have 6 objectives to implement. So the tool today is already offering 4 objectives of them. You can see them in black. So the climate change mitigation, change adaptation, biodiversity, ecosystem, pollution prevention and controls, which are the 4 that are already implemented in the solutions. And by end of this month, we're going to have the 2 others, which is the water and marine resources and the circular economy. Meaning that we will be the first operator, we will be the first company offering a coverage on the 6 full objectives for this EU taxonomy. We are also offering one of the best coverage for it because we are covering more than 40,000 companies, issuers for this EU taxonomy module. So we see on that level directly the eligibility, the step 1, and we see as well the alignment, step 5, which is the final the alignment of the investment, that are aligned with the green activities. So saying that, we have the possibility to go through all the different steps. We have the possibility to deep dive and to see exactly the information that we need for any specific company in which we are invested. So let's just do the exercise like a visualization, and indeed this would request questions, but we are happy to answer any of them. By org, I can ask and click on step 2, which is the technical criteria, application of the technical criteria, which will tell us if this activity is really contributing to a green economy, and then the do not significant harm, the social safeguard, and the alignment. At the end, everything can be disclosed, everything is displayed in this tool. Now, you see that I have clicked on this arrow to select all the disclosures and all these the companies, that have already reported their eligibility, or even step 5. For instance, let's take this E.ON company. E.ON has reported step 1 and 5, and if I click on the details, I have the ability to see what report from E.ON has reported this number, and where is located the figures that we have collected, right, through our artificial intelligence, natural language processing systems, page 142, etc. And I click directly on the company report. The link is done. We give you the transparency. We tell you where the number is, and you can get the figure directly on your screen, which is very useful for clients that really want to have, you know, a clear understanding and a full transparency of the information that we provide. So if I now open the arrows, and we will stop there because we could spend an hour talking about the EU taxonomy, I am able to see exactly what are the activities following strictly, and that's very important, following strictly the regulation definition of each sectors. We give you the weight and the exposure of those companies. Back on my dashboard, now we will enter in the second part, which is all non-regulation, even if Scott reminds us that we do have a regulation in the TCFD, which is something that we offer, and we help our clients to report their TCFD reporting obligation for climate purpose. So let's go and quickly see the ESG risk. This module is basically a scoring model. Is helping you to understand very easily what is the level of the risk that you are bringing into your portfolio for the E, S, and G pillars. And it gives you a view also with a full transparency and granularity of information. Let's go in the, so the framework is quite regular for those that are very, that knows well the framework of an ESG risk analysis. This is regular, but we will see that with a view by org, we have this ability to go and to click on one given company. Let's take ABBV, and let's take, for instance, the environmental emission. Let's go on the, for instance, air pollutant emission. I can click on the data, and I see exactly the raw data that we are using. We see exactly the sources of those data, and we see as well the metrics that we are using in order to size, you know, because it's a ratio, it's an intensity. And we work always in intensity, but we give you as well, indeed, the size of the businesses for the calculation of those metrics. Back on my summary, leaving now this ESG risk scope, but we can talk also about it during 1 hour. Let's go through the exposure. Exposures is basically in what industry my portfolio or my investment are exposed in terms of controversial sectors or activities. I can click on the, I see in this little widget, I see that we have 47 different subjects, and we see that we have 702 companies exposed to those subjects, which is already an information. Clicking on the details, I have a full view on which company, what activity, and why they are exposing. Gambling, for instance, we see that we have 48 companies, and we can see which company are indeed involved. Adobe, for instance, is involved in this business, and we can get the details of everything. Back on my summary, the climate modules. Climate modules will be made of three different methodologies. The first one is the calculation of the carbon intensity, the carbon footprint. And we are, for this, following, and we are also giving you the full view of the formulas that we have in place. And we disclose in that specific module all the different carbon footprint metrics that we need in order to fulfill the TCFD regulation. We have implemented in our modules different strategies. For instance, you can follow the TCFD alignment. you can perform your reporting, TCFD reporting with the tool. And you have also the prospects, meaning that at the end, I am able to manage my portfolio with an alignment to specific framework. Let's talk about one of the most important one, which is the Les Accords de Paris. This one we can see like in a snapshot, but we also have the details on that this portfolio, for instance, is invested for 15% in companies that are aligned with Les Accords de Paris, i.e. will not increase more than 1.5 degrees the temperature of the worldwide globe by 2050. Back on my summary, we have as well the impact. ESG impact is following a classical analysis, following the ESG framework for impact, but as well the UN SDGs, the famous one. We have a full scope, we have a scoring model, and we analyze the way the portfolio is impacting globally the world. And that point is very important because with Clarity, we do have this positioning by saying that the impact of any company has an impact on the world and not only in his sector, not only in his country, it's a worldwide impact, which means that at the end, this is something that we calculate. We have computed a specific methodology in place, which is one of the most powerful one that will give you exactly the impact of your portfolios. So I will now just perform a portfolio summary and then I will leave the floor to you for your questions. The first, so to do that, I first click on Portfolio Summary, and then I am able to perform any specific comparison with benchmarks, but as well, I have the ability to compute and to create a portfolio summary, which is quite useful, and we have some quotes from our clients saying that they use this for their management committee, for the board, in order to demonstrate the impact, in order to demonstrate the risk that they have in their portfolio. Then for the ESG risk, let's compare this to the Euro Stoxx 50. Let's take the ESG impact, Euro Stoxx 50 index, as well for all the different modules. And I will just show you very easily, how this is done. And this is giving you a view on how this tool can help you in this reporting capabilities. Generate a summary. Now the computer is managing and creating the report. This report will be on my screen. Hopefully it should come. I redo it. So I select the DAX 40, which highlights as well the fact that we have all the different benchmarks in our tool. Generate the report. My report is being generating. This one is in an HTML format, but we have the possibility indeed to print it in PDF. And you will see all the different modules, all the different measurements in one snapshot, in one report. And you see everything. We have the top five, the bottom five organization impacting the scores, impacting the E, the S, or the G modules. You have the impact metrics as well, the most important one for the portfolio. You have the UN SDGs exposure. You have the as well measurement of the ESG risk. Everything is just disclosed in one report. So and you have also some nice data visualization, which is one key important thing as well, because with so many data, sometimes it's not easy to manage in a synthetic way. So that's basically what the capabilities is giving. And then this impact highlight module as well that show you, for instance, and I will just finish on that side, that show you the impact of your portfolio with understandable measures. Let's say, for instance, this portfolio is saving up to 69 journeys between London and New York with a plane. So it is giving you on the CO2 emission savings, which give you a nice figure and an illustration of the impact of the portfolio. The carbon measure, the footprint, etc. So back on the platform, and I leave it to your questions. So, first question, hello, do you have a methodology guide about the pies you disclose at the portfolio level? This is a very interesting question because we do provide indeed the methodology, and as well, it's important to understand that Clarity is providing the pies calculation at the level of what the regulation and the regulator is asking, is requesting. Basically, what we are doing is we have taken the definition and we have, from scratch, on a bottom-up approach, defined the pies, which is not using proxy, which is not using different sources, which is directly linking the answers to what the regulation is asking. That's also one aspect of why this module is quite used and is gaining market share in the market currently. So, second question, I noticed that you have used ETF. Would your platform also work on open-ended funds, CCAV, blah, 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 etc.? Would you have the same granularity and quality of data? The answer is yes. We are now covering 322,000 different funds. I am including into those funds the ETF. So ETF is probably 90%, 100% of the ETF are covered. We also use swap ETF. If this methodology is in place, we have the look-through and we are using the other ETF and benchmarks to get the use through. So the answer is yes, and we have the same granularity and the same quality of data indeed, because at the end, this is the sources of what we use to perform the analysis. Third question, do you have any qualitative data on the climate module in order to understand why and how a company is aligned or not to l'Accord de Paris? So, qualitative data, in order to be aligned with l'Accord de Paris, means that we need to be able to understand, we need to assess if one given company is able to fulfill this requirement and, and be aligned with this objective of the l'Accord de Paris. The answer is yes. Basically, we have that. We are giving first the carbon intensity of the company, the carbon footprint, sorry, of the company now, the current footprint. But we are also giving the prospect of this one in 2030 and also in 2050. And then we are able to clearly have an understanding of the trajectory. And each time, each year, we assess whether the company is above or is under this target. So we have a granularity of information, and we then, and this is probably an underline of this question, we do give also a temperature implied rise temperature, an implied temperature rise. Sorry. So basically, the answer is yes. Which are the providers for all those data? Do you make yourself data retreatment? So that's what Thibaut told you. We do collect data, but what are the different sources and who are the different providers of the data? They are these ones that provide raw data. For instance, we have discussed and we have talked about the CDP, the Carbon Disclosure Project. We are collecting data from CDP. We are collecting information and raw data from many different sources, and we can have a number of something like 50 different sources for raw data only. Then with those raw data, you need to have estimation model. Why? Because for instance, if we talk about just the scope 1 and scope 2, it's today around the world we have 7,000 companies disclosing their numbers only. So basically, we indeed need to estimate for the rest of the companies. Given the technology that we use, given our algorithms, we are able to analyze a specific company and benchmark it with specific group of those companies in the same sector, in the same industry, in the same with the same size, etc. Many different features which help us to clearly estimate and give an information on what is the data itself. So yes, we use the raw data. We give you, by the way, the name of those sources, and as well, we give you, if we adjust the value, because that's part of the question, we do adjust values when we don't have any, when we think, and when one data is, like an outlier in its industry. At the end, we do provide an adjusted value. The idea at the end and the goal, it's not an idea, it's a value of the company. It's to provide you with the best quality data, which is one key challenge in this industry. And that's why, and this is probably also one of the key reasons why Clarity has been created in 2017. Being able to answer this challenge of providing qualitative data for the sustainable investment industry. Okay, so now the webinar has to end. So thank you very much for your presence. Thank you very much for all your interesting questions. We have not answered all of them, so we will do that, but with emails, and we will definitely answer all your questions. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we can close the webinar now.